All right, question number 51. Should all Christians pray for the sick to be healed? I'm pretty sure you know my answer at this point. Yes! We saw in question number 27 that the ministry of healing is directly connected to the Great Commission. And because I believe the Great Commission extends to all believers, I believe also healing ministry is a responsibility of all believers. We know from 1 Corinthians 14:1 that believers are to earnestly desire all of the spiritual gifts. This was Paul's admonition to the Corinthian church, and by implication to all the church. Look at 1 Corinthians 14:1. It says, pursue love and earnestly desire the spiritual gifts. You only need to look back at 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and then continue reading on in 1 Corinthians 14 to see what those spiritual gifts are. We are to earnestly desire them and we are to pursue them, right? Pursuing spiritual gifts will be pursuing the ministry of healing. And why pursue the ministry of healing? If you're not open and ready to pray for the sick and living in this broken world, you will never stop running into sick people. Paul instructed believers in Galatia to seize every opportunity that presents itself to help those in need, especially fellow believers. Anytime you find somebody in need, if you can help them, especially those believers, especially those of the household of faith, especially your brothers and sisters. I can't think of a better way to help a believer or a non-believer who is sick than to lay hands on them and ask God to heal them. Look at the verse in Galatians 6:10. Paul says, "So then as we have opportunity, let us do good to everyone, and especially to those who are of the household of faith." If we want to insert healing ministry in here, then what I would say is every time you have an opportunity to pray for the sick, I want to encourage you to seize it, to do it. Paul instructed believers in Galatia to seize every opportunity that presents itself to help those in need, especially fellow believers. So, anytime you see that you can fulfill a need, whether it's to an unbeliever or to a believer, Paul encourages and instructs Christians to seize that opportunity. And I can't think of a better way to help a believer or a non-believer who is sick than to lay hands on them and ask God to heal them. So, anytime somebody presents a need to you, whether it's an unbeliever at work or whether it's a believer in church or whether it's a family member who comes to you and says, "Man, I have this really horrible migraine," or a family member who gets a bad diagnosis. Any person that you come across that tells you of an ailment, there's an opportunity. The Lord may right then, through your faith and obedience, through the laying on of hands, the Lord may right then grant a gift of healing. This is an opportunity to bless them. And so seize it. Take advantage of it. Years ago, people came to John Wimber and said, "Hey, John, I've heard you talk about healing, and you know what? I tried it. It doesn't work." And John said, "You tried it?" He said, "Pray for 10,000 sick people to be healed, and then come back and tell me whether or not it works." Wow, what a challenge. We've taken that to heart here at Faithway, and that's something that we say on a regular basis. We're looking for 10,000 people to pray for. And you know what? Not every single person is going to be healed the moment we pray. But as we've been praying for the sick to be healed over the last 6 years here at Faithway, we have wonderful testimonies of miraculous things that God has done and is doing still today in healing the sick. If we simply step out in faith, believe that God still does miracles today, that the age of miracles has not passed, but that Jesus is still compassionate to heal, and that God is still Yahweh Rapha, just as He was in the Old Testament. It's in His covenant name, it's in the commission, and it's in the atonement. It's all throughout the New Testament. And so we rejoice in the opportunity to pray for the sick, and we try to seize every opportunity that comes our way. I want to challenge you to do the same thing.